Good afternoon and welcome to our webinar on Quantum Collaborate. My name is Lisa and I'm just here to make sure that everything runs smoothly. There will be a live Q&A, so please ask any questions that you've got using the Q&A box and we'll go through these at the end of the webinar. It is being recorded and a link to that will be sent on Monday, along with our training and resource materials ready for go live later on in the afternoon. So I will now hand over to Pippa for the demonstration.
Thank you very much, Lisa. So I should get started and I will share my screen. There we go. So I will just start this by saying that I will be showing Quantum Collaborate in a test environment, so the URL is a little bit different, but don't mind that. Logging in will remain the same. You'll still have 2FA to get in, but the login in is different for clients. I'll show more on it later, but essentially now your clients don't have to use 2FA to log in. They will instead be able to put their email address in and they will get a code sent to them to allow them to log in, which just makes it easier if your clients are trying to use Quantum on their phone, so they don't have to get 2FA on the same device, which can sometimes cause a bit of confusion when logging in. So we've changed that for them, which will hopefully make the process a lot easier. The first thing that you will notice is Collaborate has its own button now in the top right hand side corner next to your name. Removing it from the tools section just means it's a bit easier to access. Some people were struggling to find it, so it just means it's much easier for you to get there. As you can see, the dashboard looks pretty different. We've built this around the prospect of sending packs to your clients, such as if you to build a postal pack to send over. So you will add in your items such as the forms, the details, the case information, and you can then send it on to the client. We've also added these suggested actions here, which will give you a guide as to the next steps you can take in starting your collaboration. I'll just also point out here, you can see in the top right hand side corner where any of your Collaborate keys live. So you can see we currently have 24 keys out of 30, which means we can collaborate on 24 individual cases before we would need to start looking at freeing up some keys, just free up the Collaborate licenses. So first thing we'll do is go to these Collaborator settings on the right hand side and we will add our Collaborator. So we'll just do that by clicking the Add button here. When it first pops up, you'll see we'll have the 3 types of collaborators that you can add. You can add a client, you can add a barrister or other, and then you can choose whether or not you want to share the documents with them. The documents in this instance means any PDF documents that have been uploaded to the case. If you select with documents, that barrister or other will be able to see the documents, and if you select without documents, they won't be able to see them. Something we have done with this new redevelopment is if you have selected a barrister or other, they will be able to collaborate on multiple cases at a time, which wasn't something that we could do before. And it's a question we got quite commonly, so we're hoping this is going to help resolve a lot of things. So we'll just go ahead and add the collaborator details in, and we'll add the email address as well. And once that's done, you can just click Add. So we can see the collaborator has been added at the top right hand side corner, but we can see that the invitation has not yet been sent. Anything that you start adding to the pack won't be sent until you click Start Collaborating. So it really lets you build up this pack so your client just gets one email when everything's ready. If you add a client to your collaborator, so a client instead of a barrister or other, the case information will be automatically shared straight away. This is because the case information are those core details that filter into all of the forms and documents you create within Quantum. So it's important that the client can make sure that's all correct. If you don't want the client to have the case information, you can remove it. You can just click the 3 buttons here, the 3 dots, and then click remove, and it will remove the case information. Now that we have added the client, you can see that the suggested actions, the collaborator details has been ticked, and then we can start working on anything else we want to add. If you want to add a form to send over to your client, they are listed under this forms section here, and the supplementary materials such as the ES2, chronology and schedule of assets have been added to this section here. If you want to add a form, you just need to click the add button, and then you've got a list of all the forms that you can collaborate with here, and you just click add next to the one you want. So if we just click add next to this form E and then done, we can see it has been added to the pack. Something new that we've added as well is that you can now customize a form. So if we click into this, previously when you collaborated with a form on a client, specific sections were not available to the client and the client could work on the majority of the form. You now have the ability to disable certain sections if you'd want, and you can add custom guidance notes as well. So we can see on this side here that the filed by section is currently not available to clients. If you want the client to be able to access this, using this little toggle icon here to show page, you can make the page visible to the client and you can see the icon is now available without a strike through. You can also change this visibility on section by section level. So if you want them to be able to edit the firm name but not the address, you can toggle that one off there as well. But for the purpose of this, we're going to keep this as not available. So if we just go to section 1 for the dates, I'll show you about adding some guidance notes. So at the top of every section, you'll have this add custom help text here. If you click to that, it will have a free text box here. So you can put any text you would like to your client. So we'll put, please complete to the best of your knowledge. And then we'll just click save. So you can see that's been added here. At any time when you're customizing a form, you can preview it as the client by clicking this preview button here. So if we click preview, we can see how that help text will show up from our client saying it's a help text from your solicitor/advisor. If you want to exit this view, you can do so by clicking exit preview. So we've added a guidance note in there. We'll just move on to the child's details. And just for the purpose of this, I'm going to disable this section for the client so I can show you what it looks like on their side. Once you've finished customizing the form, you can then go back to the Collaborate dashboard by clicking this arrow in the top left-hand side corner. And then you can continue to build your pack. So we will also send across a supplementary material. It's the same as adding a form. You just click the add button here, and then you can choose to add whatever you need to. So now that we've added our forms and supplementary materials, if we look at the suggested actions, we can see the last suggested action is to add a message. So we added this in so that you can communicate with your client whether you want to ask them to complete a specific section or if you just want to add a quick message saying, welcome to Quantum, please work on your Form E. This is found in the Collaborator section on this right-hand side, and you can just click add here. It will open this same text box. So if we just put, welcome to Quantum Cloud, please complete your Form E by Friday. And we can just click save there. That just means when you're sending across your form to your client, you don't then have to send an additional email with instructions. You can include it all in Quantum to all be sent at the same time. So once we've finished with our pack, if we go to the top and we're ready to collaborate, we can do so by clicking Start Collaborating. If at any time you want to check what's in the pack, you can do so by opening this 4 items here, and we can see we will be sending across the invitation, the case information, the Form E, and the chronology. So if we're ready to start collaborating, we'll just click Start Collaborating here. We'll get an additional summary showing what's being shared, confirming that one of our Collaborate keys will be in use and that the email invitation will be sent to the client. We're all happy with that, so we're just going to go ahead and click Start Collaborating. If at any time you want to add something additional to the pack, once you've already shared with the client, you can do so very easily. I'll just wait until this collaborator has finished being added and then I can show you. There we go. So we can now see that the collaborator's acceptance is penned in. So if you want to add an additional form, all we'd need to do is go to the forms, click add. You can then select the additional form. So we'll send across the D81 and then click done. And we can see from the help text here that the D81 has not yet been shared and that we need to update the collaborator pack. You can check what's going to be sent over when you click update by opening this 5 items. So we can see the change pending is the D81, and we can send that across just by clicking update pack, and this will just confirm that it's the D81 that will be sent over, as everything else has already been notified to the client. So we'll just click update pack there. Now that we've done that, I'll show you how it works on the client side. So if we just go to my emails, we can see that the client has received a welcome email asking them to log in. So all you'll need to do for the client is they pop in their email address and then click send code. This will send them a 6-digit code to their email, which they can then use to log in. So if I go back to my emails, we'll just copy the code here, pop it in here, and it's as easy as that for the clients. The first thing that the client will see, if you have added the case information, is the case information. This is because this is the core details that will filter into their forms, so we want to make sure it's correct before processing. They can work through it here, and once they're done, they just need to click the black button at the bottom to go to the next section. So they can just work through their case information, and once they're finished, it's submitted back like a form. So they just need to click submit form, confirm that they want to submit it, and it will send it back to the solicitor. And you can now see that the case information is with the solicitor to review, and it is all completed. So this is the new Collaborate dashboard. You can see on the left-hand side is where the message that we entered pops up for them. And on the right-hand side, we have your solicitor and advisor details. This was something that was recommended to us during beta testing to be added. So we've popped this in now. We think it's very good so that the client knows that this is coming from a trusted source. It's coming from their solicitor. This solicitor and advisor details does pull through from the case information, so I would recommend making sure that the details in the case information for your solicitor details are inputted first. So if we keep scrolling down on the dashboard, we can see the document manager is now located here. Under the case information, we have the forms, and then under that, we have the supplementary materials. The clients can also navigate on this dashboard at the top. So if we navigate to forms, we can just see all the forms, supplementary materials, just the supplementary materials, and the same for documents, it will only show the documents here. If a client does want to upload documents, it's very easy to do. It works as a Dropbox now, instead of you having to accept files. So all the client would need to do is click Select Files. It will open up their personal document management system, and you can then choose a file to be uploaded. The files do need to be in PDF format, less than 1 GB, and without any encryption or passwords. That just means if the document's encrypted, Quantum isn't able to read it to make sure that it's safe, so you just need to make sure it's got no password protection on it. Once that's uploaded, it will run a virus scan, but while it's running the virus scan, your client's not prevented from doing anything. They can keep going about completing their form. So we will get started on the Form E. As we open that up, if we go to the dates and occupation, we can see that that help text that we added has pulled through at the top. And we can see that the child details that we disabled is no longer able to be accessed by the client. For the purpose of this, I'm just going to go through and make a change to the bank accounts. So I'm going to click Add to create a bank account. Just add one in here. There we go. And we'll just quickly add an amount. There we go. And I'll also make a change in section 4.2. I'll just put that here. So I can show you how both of those come through. Once your client has finished with the form, all they would need to do is click Submit Form in the top right-hand side corner. They'll then get in a pop-up to confirm that that they want to submit the form, and that once it's submitted, they won't be able to make any more changes. So we'll just click Submit Form, and now we can see that we can't make any changes to the text box. Just for the purpose of this, I'm just going to go back to the dashboard, and I'm going to start working on the D81 so I can show you what this looks like as well. We'll just add that in there, and we'll add an amount in here. There we go, and we'll just leave that as that. So let's go back to the solicitor dashboard, and I can show you what that looks like on the other side. So I'll just refresh my screen. There we go. So we can see these changes that have come through. We can also see the collaborator details at the top right-hand side corner. So you can make sure that your client is working on, not make sure that your client's working on the form, but you can see when they last logged in and when they were last active on Quantum. And so we can see that here, that they last logged in on Friday, 27th of March at 12 minutes past 1. If we scroll down here, you can see that the review changes is a little bit different. You can see that the form has not been reviewed and that the primary button is to review these changes. We can see that the D81 that we started working on has been edited but has not yet been returned. So let's review the Form E. If we just click Review Changes. So this is something that we've been working on, is now that when you're comparing the form, it will be a side-by-side comparison, which will make things much easier. If data is identical, it will have this green tick icon, and if data is not identical, it will have the same icon as before with the track change symbol. You can see at the top left-hand side that we have 3 different pages to review, and you can start working your way through them. So if we go to bank accounts, we can see that a bank account has been added. So you have a couple of options here. You can choose to use the Collaborator's version for all outstanding changes. You can use the master version for all outstanding changes, which will work for each individual section. Or you can accept things as a page. So we can go to page actions, and we can use all of the Collaborator's version for all of 2.3, all of master version for all of 2.3, or we can even go through and do this at form level. So if you've sent over a blank Form E and you just want to accept all of the client changes, you can just go to Form Actions in this top right-hand side corner and then click Use all of Collaborator's version, or you can also use master version for it. If you added a bank account and you want to see the individual changes, you just need to click the bank account, click Modify, and then you can go through as well and accept the individual changes for each section in here as well. So for the purpose of this, we're just going to go ahead and use the Collaborator's version, and we can see that's been pulled through. There's now a tick to mean that the data is identical and that track change symbol has been removed from the left-hand side. And then if we keep scrolling down to section 4.2, if we want to use the master version, so we can see the client version has an A and our master version has nothing, we can just click Use Master Version and it will pull that through. Once all of the changes have been reviewed, you will automatically get this pop-up to let you know that all of the differences have now been resolved and you can mark the form as reviewed. So we'll just go ahead and do that. And now that that's done, if I show you on the left-hand side, if we go to the bank accounts, we can see that that bank account we accepted has been pulled through. And if we just scroll down to 4.2, we can see the master version has been overwritten and that client's NA has been removed. If you go back to the Collaborate dashboard, now that you've reviewed the form, you have a couple of options. You can reshare the form to send it straight back to your client. If you want to send it back to the client and ask them to do something else, you can always edit the message to ask them to complete the income needs table or something else. Or if you're finished with that form, you can click the 3 dots to remove it there as well. Because we've got the D81 that has not yet been returned to us, if you do need to return it, if the court deadline's coming up and you need to take this form back for the client, we've added a new feature in called Force Submit. So if we just click the 3 dots and we click Force Submit, this will retrieve the form from the client, including any changes that they have added. So we'll just get an option to confirm this, because once you force submit the form, the client will no longer be able to make any changes. So we'll pull that one through. And then we can see we've got the form available here. Okay, I think that's everything I wanted to show you with Quantum Collaborate. I will show you a little bit about Document Manager. So you can see we added the document with the client. It's different now so that you don't need to accept any of the documents that the client is added. It functions as a Dropbox where the client can just add the document in and it goes straight to the Document Manager. So if you find the Document Manager, it's still in the Tools section, second to the bottom. And we can see the document the client uploaded is here in Unassigned Files. You will also have a section for files attached to forms. If you assign your document to a section of the form, this is where it will appear. So I'll show you how that works. If we just go back to the Form E, and if we go to that bank account we added, and we just click Modify, you will now see that we've got this option at the top for uploading files. If you want to upload a new file, you can do this directly in the section. So you can click Select File, and you can upload a document, and that will start doing the virus scan here as well. Once that's done, you can also add any more that you need to. So you're now able to add multiple documents to a specific bank statement, which is very useful. You just need to do that by clicking Add More. You can also choose to upload any existing documents. So if we go to Choose Existing, it will give us a drop-down option, and we can choose from any existing PDFs that we have uploaded. So we can choose the bank statement that the client uploaded here. Now that they've both been added, to pull them through, you would just need to go to your Section 6, the Schedule of Documents, and we would just need to change the Edit to Compile. It will automatically go back to Edit, but once it has been changed to Compile, it will pull through those documents so that when you go to Print or Download, entire form with attachments, if we go all the way to the bottom, we can see those documents have pulled through here. The documents will always pull through in order of the form, so you will get 2.1 properties first, and then you'll get 2.2 with the bank accounts, 2.3 with the bank accounts after that. But if you did want to change the order, you can do so in the Schedule of Documents. I think that's everything I wanted to show you, so I will pass it back over to Lisa to go through any questions we might have received.
Thank you, Pippa. That was great, and look forward to the changes going live on Monday afternoon. We have received some questions, actually. So the first is, what if I have a collaborator in progress before the changes go live? What do I need to do?
So we have tested many scenarios of if you've got a client, if you've got a collaborator before these changes go live. And that could be if you've added a client but not yet sent a form, if you've added a client, sent the form but they've not sent it back yet. We've tested all of those scenarios, and we have made a migration guide to cover the scenarios and let you know the next steps and what will happen. If you would like a copy of the migration guide, please just let us know and we'd be more than happy to send it over to you. But no data will be lost. It will just be a change of how it looks.
That's great, thank you. And the second question is, how will I know the changes have gone live?
So when the changes go live, you will get a pop-up on your screen saying that changes have been made, and there will be a button to click saying to implement the changes. You'll just need to click that button and your Quantum screen will refresh and the changes will be implemented there. On Monday, we will be sending out an email to all Quantum users, and that will contain any training and resources and guides that you might need for navigating the new Quantum Collaborate. So do keep an eye out in your inbox. That'll be going out on Monday morning. But if you do want any one-to-one help, or if you want to book in some training for yourself or training for your team, please do get in touch. We're more than happy to do that. And there will be details for that going out in the email on Monday as well.
That's great. Thank you, Pippa. Well, that just leaves us to say thank you from both of us. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and have a lovely weekend. Take care.
Thank you very much for joining, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. There we go.